Welcome to Everything and Anything, the channel that helps you with everything and anything. Today, I'm going to show you how to execute a VLOOKUP with two conditions in less than 10 minutes. Here we look at two main examples. One is showing different type of clothing and the different sizes can be looked as an inventory. The second example will show different students and different subject that they have at school and their grading, their percentage on grades. Let's first look at this example. You might want to show only one person and one material, one subject. To do that, we're going to create a dashboard. In a normal VLOOKUP, if we wanted to look at the math, for example, we would do a VLOOKUP for Tom. So for example, let's write down Tom and math. To know what Tom is doing in math, we would do equal VLOOKUP. We would select VLOOKUP, we will look at Tom, comma, and then we'll just look at the column. So we'll select the first two, and then we'll put the column number 2, because we know that math is the column number 2. And then we would do an exact match. So we will write false and close a parenthesis. Here we would have the grade. However, if I change math, if I decide that actually we put physics here and math is this one, it will still show 28 on our dashboard. As you can see, however, 28 now is considered physics. And this is because we just said that the math is always in column 2. This might be an issue when you're playing with bigger set of data. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that the column match the name. So let's start again. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to select the different topics and I'm going to copy them in the dashboard. When this is done, I'm going to go into the first selected tab cell and I'm going to write VLOOKUP. I'm going to select it. The VLOOKUP will be against the student, which we'll put in column B. So I'm just going to click the B3, which is the cell just before all of the grades. Then I'm going to put a comma. I'm going to select the table array. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my students dashboard and I'm going to select all the students I want. Then I'm going to do a comma again. And then I want to have the column index, which as for this one, we want to make sure that it matches the name. So we're going to write match. As you can see, you're going to have two options for match and X match. We're going to select match first. We're going to look at the value that we want to match. So let's go back to our dashboard. We want it to be the column C. So let me write it down. C2. Here you can't see it, but C2 is the column which is just above, which is showing the subject that we're looking for. We have then the lookup array. So if I go into students again, we look at line number 2, and then we're going to match it. We want it to be an exact match. And then we're going to close the parenthesis. Here you can see it's just adding one other parenthesis, which is normal because we look at the old one. So what we're going to do too is after the match, so after the column, we have a comma, and then we can put false because this is the first VLOOKUP. So again, we did a VLOOKUP with the B3 being the lookup value and then a match. So I'm just going to click on false and then enter. Let's put Tom. As we can see, Tom in physics is 28. Let's change physics with math. So let's take math and put it in physics, and then we can write physics here. Let's see if it updates, and as you can see, we updated it. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to block my B3. To do that, I'm going to add the $sign right there. Then I have to just also block the table array, which I'm just going to do right here. And then I'm just going to extend. So as you can see here, we have all the different grades for the different subject. That will be really useful when you're not the one owning the data and the titles, the headers might change. And it's easy to find then quick information. Another example would be for the name of the student to, if we want to change the name of the student to another name, so like for example, Marie. We can then see that it updates fully. We need to make sure that the name is written correctly, and then we can see it's written fully. Now that we finished the dashboard for the students, let's look at all of the issues that can happen with this VLOOKUP and two conditions. Let's look at this inventory here. We do see some pieces of clothing and some sizes. Let's check all of the pieces of clothes that we have. Let's transpose them on the dashboard. And then we just want to know the one which are an XS. If I follow the same example as previously, I'm just going to write a VLOOKUP. Then I'm going to take the XS, comma. I'm going to take all of the table. Let's select absolutely everything so we make sure that we have the data within it. I want the column index, so I'm going to match it to the dress. So let's go back to a dashboard. We want to match it. So let's open the parentheses. We want to match it to dress, comma, lookup array. We go back to inventory. The dress is in our row A. We want it to be absolutely exact. We close the parentheses, again a comma, and then we want it to be an exact match. As you can see, this doesn't work. In fact, the VLOOKUP is looking at the different columns. So you would look at one row and then it will select within this row the column which is working. However, when we did our selection, we looked at XS being the column and dress being the row. So as you can see here in my VLOOKUP, I do B3, which is XS here, inventory where I take everything. But the match, which is supposed to be our column index number, is actually a row. I selected the entire column AA, so I want it to look at matching a row, which obviously will not work. So what I'll do here is I'm going to put XS here, and I'm going to put dress here. And you're going to see this is still not going to work, and I'm going to explain why. Let's look closely at our equation. We have a VLOOKUP, we have the B3, which is the dress, we have the inventory, which is selecting everything, and then we match the C2, XS, with then, let's match it with the correct, which is not, in that case, the inventory. It's literally this line here. Let's enter. As you can see, dress and XS here is working. Dress and XS. Sometimes you might have some issue where it will not show anything, and this is because you have an extra line of clear content. So I would always recommend to delete any line with clear content to not have anything wrong. Once this is done, I want to show you one other troubleshooting that might happen. You might, instead of wanting to select the full row, to select only the headers. So only header XXS to XL. As you can see, here is going to give you a 5. If we go back into our table, inventory, the dress in XS is 10. The only 5 that we have for dress is within XXS. And this is just because we selected a row later than our full table array. So I would always say, if you select the full table array in your first VLOOKUP, in the first part of your VLOOKUP, for the column index, please select the full line. So you will select, instead of only B1 to H1, you will go back in and select absolutely everything, and then you will have the correct answer. This can be used for a lot of different data. You can make sure that you keep an eye on your different type of inventory, or if your inventory changes day by day, you can do reports on the different revenue you have for different restaurants, for example. In the next video, I will show you how to create a booking system for your Airbnb through Excel, or how to keep track of your inventory and your bookings for a bed and breakfast. Hope you enjoyed this video and it helped you. Like, subscribe and comment. Let us know what else you might need help with. We are able to help you with everything and anything.